welcome back to Art with Anna. This is week 2 of our shelter in place, and we are still gonna have fun and we're gonna make some art. So today, instead of focusing on an artist like we did last week, I thought we could focus on kind of like an art form. So today we're gonna be talking about stop motion film. So the word stop motion is kind of an oxymoron, right? How can you be stopping and in motion at the same time, right? It doesn't really make sense. So we'll talk a little bit about how to make stop motion films, why it's called that. But first I thought we could think about some stop motion films that we maybe have already seen. So some popular ones are Wallace and Gromit, also James and the Giant Peach, Nightmare Before Christmas. Those are all examples of stop motion videos that you might have watched. So stop motion is the process of taking photos that are still or stopped, moving them a little bit, taking another photo, moving them a little bit, taking another photo, and when you play them all together really quickly, it looks like they're in motion. So we're taking stopped objects, moving them slightly, putting them together, and that's what creates the motion. So that's what we're mostly going to focus on today. I'll show you my setup and then we can talk a little bit more about that. All right. So my setup right now is just on my bed. Wherever you have a background, which is going to be just my headboard, is great. Any flat surface, which I put this board that I covered a long time ago as my flat surface, with a background will be perfect. I didn't have any great tables to put this on with any lighting that would work. So, and then you're just going to want to grab any little objects that you have. Because we're in Holland, Michigan, and I married a Dutchman, we have some porcelain wooden shoes with tulips and windmills on them. I also have a nesting doll, and this is pretty much everything I need for my video, just a few little trinkets. And we are going to work on taking photos of them coming together and making a little bit of motion out of that. So first step would be finding some small objects in your house that you'd like to use. And then second step is going to be to make some sort of plot. What do you want your video, what kind of story do you want your video to tell? So when making a story plot, right, a simple way to think about it is asking yourself the 5 W's. 5 W's? Who, what, where, when, and why. So for my video, my who is going to be my little shoes. Where? On my bed. What they're going to do is they're going to come together, kind of crash and turn into the big one. And why? Just for fun, I guess. But I just have a little plot, right? A little bit of a story. These two shoes walking towards each other, they see each other, they crash, and boom, they become one big one. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does tell a little bit of a story in a linear way. So it does have a beginning, which is them separate, a middle, which is them kind of coming together, and then an end. So that is our story, talking a little bit about story making. All right, so once you have your story set up and you have picked some items from around your house that you want to use in your video, The next step would be setting up the scene. So going back to my scene that I've set up, we do have something, ignore this big one for now. We have a background, right? My background's just this wood, but if you wanted to make some background scenery, you could. Like if you were in a desert, maybe you put cactus back there, or maybe you're in a forest and you have some trees back there and that's your background. The next part of our scene is actually the middle ground, and that is going to be this doll. She's going to be kind of like watching our shoes come together and then being surprised when they become a giant shoe. So she's in our middle ground, and then in our foreground, which is the front of the scene, we'll have our wooden shoes coming together. So our foreground, our wooden shoes, middle ground, our doll, and then background is just the wood back there. So that's what you'll also want to set up. Figure out what you want in your background. Do you have anything in your middle ground, or are you not going to have anything there and it's just going to be the foreground and background? You get to make that choice. And you're going to want some things that are staying still, right? So if your background is staying still and then your foreground is moving, but you could also have that your foreground is standing still and something in your background is moving past. So you got to decide what's going to be in motion, your foreground, middle ground, or background, and what is going to stay stationary. Because whatever stays stationary is really going to kind of make what's in motion stand out. So we need to make sure we have something that stands still and something that's going to be moving. All right, so once you have decided what your story is, you have all of the little trinkets you need to use to make the video, and you've set up your scene, the next thing to do is just take the photos, right? What I found was easiest was an app. It's called Stop Motion. And it looks like this. This is hard to do backwards. Stop Motion. And what you do is you open the app, you take the photos right on the app, they put all the photos together for you, and it's super easy. You can even record audio if you want for your video on there. So that would be my top recommendation. If you don't have a smartphone, you don't have access to one, another option would be to take photos on a camera, upload them onto a computer, and then finding a free program that you could use. I know Giphy is free, and it will make a free GIF for you, so it will still put all your photos together and make them animated, but it will just repeat like a GIF, which is a good option, I think. If you have a Mac like I do, you can use iMovie to also put your images together. I'm sure there's other software options out there too that I don't know about that are free that you could look into also. But for this video, since I think it's simplest to just have it all, the audio, pictures, everything in one spot on the app, I'm going to be using that today. So I'm going to show you how to use that. Alright, so I have a really old iPhone, but I have this app, the Stop Motion app. We'll hit it and it'll open up. I've already pre-recorded mine here, but you can click New Movie. It'll probably prompt you through some tutorials and also ask you if you could access your camera, which it's still showing me tutorials. And then from here, I simply just take the photo, so I can still, it'll take all the photos, and then when I hit play, it will play them all together. So it's literally that simple to use. You can also record audio. There's an audio spot right over there, that little microphone. And then once you're done, you can upload it. You can email it to yourself. You can send it to people. So it's that easy. So I do recommend this app. And again, it's free. So go Stop Motion. All right. So the next thing we need to think about is what's capturing your video, what's taking the photos. So I'm just going to be using my phone I believe up here, if I hit this top button, it just takes a picture. So then I'll just be able to move something and then take another picture pretty easily. I have it in this dish just to keep it propped up. It's really key that your phone isn't moving at all because that'll kind of distort your image when you put it together. So I have it in this dish where it's pretty secure. I'll be taking photos that way. So you'll need some way to set up your phone that it, make sure it doesn't move, that it's able to capture everything in your scene. So that'll be the next step, is make sure you set up that. Alright, so now you should have made your stop motion film. It should be all done. Hopefully you had fun doing this. I do hope that you upload your video and either tag me in it or send it to me, email it to me, text it to me. However you can share it with me, I just love to see it. And yeah, I hope you guys just had fun today. I do miss everyone so much. I think next week we will still be doing this at least. So I am excited to make more videos for you guys. Yeah, I guess until next time, here's my video. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you next week. Okay.